Death Be Not Proud by John Donne. Death be not proud, though some have called thee mighty and dreadful, for thou art not so. For those whom thou thinkest thou dost overthrow, die not, poor death, nor yet canst thou kill me. From rest and sleep, which but thy pictures be, much pleasure then from thee much more must flow, and soonest our best men with thee do go. Rest of the bones and soul's delivery. Thou art slave to fate, chance, kings, and desperate men, and dost with poison, war, and sickness dwell. And poppy or charms can make us sleep as well, and better than thy stroke. Why swellest thou then? One short sleep past, we wake eternally, and death shall be no more. Death, thou shalt die. Sonnet 10, also known by its opening words as Death Be Not Proud, is a 14-line poem or sonnet by English poet John Donne, born between 1572 to 1631, one of the leading figures in the metaphysical poets group of 17th century English literature. Written between February and August 1609, it was first published posthumously in 1633. The rhyme scheme of the poem is ABBA, ABBA, CDD, CEE. The term metaphysical poets was coined by the critic Samuel Johnson to describe a loose group of 17th century English poets whose work was characterized by the inventive use of conceits and by a greater emphasis on the spoken rather than lyrical quality of their verse. These poets were not formally affiliated and few were highly regarded until 20th century attention established their importance. Death Be Not Proud presents an argument against the power of death. Addressing death as a person, the speaker warns death against pride in his power. Such power is merely an illusion, and the end death thinks it brings to men and women is in fact a rest from world weariness for its alleged victims. The poet criticizes death as a slave to other forces, fate, chance, kings, and desperate men. Death is not in control for a variety of other powers exercise their volition in taking lives. Even in the rest, it brings death is inferior to drugs. Finally, the speaker predicts the end of death itself, stating, Death thou shalt die. John Donne says that death is nothing but merely a slave of these four things fate, chance, kings, desperate men. The three places where death lives forever war, poison, and sickness. John Donne concludes his sonnet saying that death need not become proud. This life is one sleep in a sense that it is full of illusion, but death liberates us from that illusion and we wake up forever. Donne believes that if death is accepted with this spirit, there is no death at all. Death itself would die. नैनम छिन्दन्ति शस्त्राणि नैनम दहति पावक न चैनम क्लेदयन्त्यापो न शोषयति मारुते. The central idea of the Bhagavad Gita. According to Bhagavad Gita, the soul or Atma has the properties that weapons cannot pierce it, fire cannot burn it, water cannot moisten it, and wind cannot dry it. Sri Krishna said, the soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burnt by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. The literary devices used in the poem are metaphor. There are three metaphors in this poem. The first is used in the opening line, Death be not proud. Here, death is compared to a proud man. The second is used in the ninth line, Thou art slave to fate, in the last line in an extended metaphor, where death is compared to the non existent or unrealistic object. Alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of the same consonant sounds in the same lines of the poetry, such as the use of the, in, and better than thy stroke, why swellest thou then, and more sound in much pleasure, then from thee much more must flow. Personification. Personification means to attribute human features to non human things. Donne has personified death throughout the poem, stating it should not be proud. Being proud is a human quality, hence, death is given a human quality of having feelings and emotions. Metonymy. Metonymy is a type of metaphor in which an object is used to describe something closely related to it. In this poem, poppy and charm are used to produce gentle sleep or death. Assonance. Assonance is the repetition of the vowel sounds in the same line of poetry, such as the sound of a in Thou art slave to fate, chance kings and desperate men, and the sound of a in and soonest our best men with thee do go. Irony. Irony means a statement that may mean something different from or the opposite of what is written. Irony often expresses something other than their literal intention, often in a humorous manner. For example, death thou shalt die. The very famous quotes for usage from death be not proud. One short sleep past, we wake eternally. Death shall be no more, death thou shalt die.